the Oregon Trail, where over 500,000 pioneers went in search for a better life. And this trail dates back to 1843 to 1868, but by 1869 the railway came through. It took between 4 to 6 months to cross this desolate landscape. There were no roads, they just had to find their way. I mean, can you imagine pulling a wagon up here? I mean, look how deep it is.
And they said they may have cut some of these down a bit. Yeah, it's just it is pretty amazing to think. I mean, this is preserved so well in the rock, and at one point this was no man's land, way out in the middle of absolute, like they used to say, this, you know, this was the new frontier. And even in this section, I know it's a lot of it's worn away to the point where it almost doesn't seem like it, but there's, see right in front of us, there's another rut which continues on up
Yeah,
this
so they
direction.
didn't all go in exactly the same line, you know, follow my leader, because over the years, because over 500,000 people came through this throughout the years, so they did kind of go in little segments. I mean, like you can see another one here. And this was 3 trails in one.
Yeah, because they had what, the Mormon Trail, this is the Oregon Trail.
And the Californian Trail. Yeah. And then they kind of all met up certain areas, and then
Right,
obviously
like at Independence Rock as
yeah.
well.
Oh wow, look at this.
Oh, wow.
So we know that they used to carve their names along the trail. I don't know whether or not these are all original pioneers or over the decades other people have carved their names. Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty neat, isn't it?
It is. And you see several people have gone and done that. 'Cause I believe this is sandstone, if I'm correct, if I believe so.
Don't know, it's very...
Yeah, you can feel it does flake off, so it's fairly easy to carve names and things, but also, as you can kind of tell, they're not going to last forever. A lot of them are starting to disappear. Yeah, because there's a bunch on. I would think these are more modern.
Oops.
Because, like I said, the early pioneers, they took their time, and they wrote very neatly.
Yeah.
Very well defined ruts.
So these are coming in from a slightly different direction.
They are. They said they didn't just follow each other. I mean, some of them were years apart, so they would just try to find the way that looked the easiest at the time. But the thing that is so fascinating about these...
Look how narrow, you can almost see the wagon tracks.
Yeah, the thickness of it. And what makes this so remarkable is, like I said, this is just our past preserved here in the rock, but even some people that are viewing this right now, some of their ancestors could have been the ones on these trails. And that's just incredible to think about.
Yeah, well, like we said before, there wasn't an actual road or anything. They just took the best trail that they could.
Right.
Just the pioneers that used these trails. The military did. In fact, there were several military bases scattered along the trails for protection, but also fur traders and trappers.
Yeah, I know there was a lot of forts that were up along this trail, and just to kind of keep it preserved, I think the Army was also in charge in the late 1800s for protecting the pioneers and the people on the trails.
Yeah, and the reason why there's so many crisscrosses in here is because the Platte River was so dangerous to cross back in those days because there were no dams or anything to tame it.
Right.
And they used to lose too many wagons and livestock by crossing it, so they would prefer to go a more, well, I guess an easier route in that respect, but to us looking at this rocks, a more hazardous and, I don't know, difficult route, I guess.
Yeah, I guess that's the one thing that kind of makes you, because you see these rocks and it's like, okay, well, that's a bit intimidating, but you see a river, especially if there's a narrow crossing, you think, well, that's the easiest way. But that sometimes can be the most dangerous. Like you said, get washed away, don't know what the current's like, how deep it gets, so. I believe this is the last little section that we found through here, and you can kind of, I mean, this is really deep. We'll give you a comparison.
5'3½", and that ½ an inch is really important.
Yeah, so it's about up to your shoulder.
Yeah, it looks like there's also another trail on top as well, and you can see.
Yeah, it's got another rut system. It's almost like that was maybe, because it's like there's that wagon wheel which would have also ended up on this side where you're standing, and then over to this as well, so you can see the actual ruts right here. So there's this rut, and the makings of that one there.
Maybe this stone here was slightly weaker and easier to get through.
Yeah, it could have been.
Softer.
Softer, right. And then, like we said, off into the distance, so they kept going, so perhaps nature has hidden the trail from us a bit in recent years.
But maybe there's more further along.
Well, I'm sure there's more rock croppings and certain things, and they've been carving their name in a lot of these spots in the sandstone, so there's probably a lot more out there.
I think most of these carvings, though, are new. They're not the pioneer carvings.
No, yeah, these ones are definitely more new, but maybe somewhere way out there where people haven't gotten to.
So this is one of the pioneer women's graves, Lucinda Rawlins. Now, there's a little bit of discrepancy. The information that I read, she actually died here on this spot in 1849, and her original grave marker was destroyed by vandals and thrown into the river.
Oh, jeez.
And this obelisk was built in in the 1930s, I think 1930...
34, wasn't it?
1934. However, some websites say she was born in 1849 and died in 1934. So I think the first one is more apt, seeing as she was meant to be one of the first pioneer women.
Yeah, I would say the same thing. And plus, you can see in the distance there, those are the Oregon Trail ruts. So she was buried here up on a hill overlooking the Platte River on the journey. And do you know what it was she died of? Was it?
I have no idea. One website said that she just died of illness.
Now, if you recognize this area, you know exactly where we're going next. So make sure you stay tuned for that episode.
And on that note, get out there, go and explore, put another pin in the atlas, and we will see you on our next adventure or on Patreon. Bye.
Bye.
Are we going to look at that one? Or look at that one?
What the hell? Okay, it's on. Well, we can look at that one. I said just split between the two.
Is the other one on?
That is our tour through the carvings.
Now our next stop is going to be Register Rock. Join us. Now get out there, go and explore, put another pin in the atlas, and we will see you on our next adventure. What about something like that?
Okay.
Okay, well, we can both do it. So people did carve their names throughout, as we know, but it's difficult to know whether or not these are pioneers or whether or not people have carved their names over the decades.
Right.
And somebody's put their handprint in.
Yeah, several people have done it. There's some more here. I think this is sandstone, so it's fairly malleable. But as you can see also, they're disappearing quickly.